What was it about the story that attracted you?
It's an amazing story. It's an amazing true story that happened in 1988, and we heard the story. We heard an official story from the government, and by stumbling onto some books, I found a different truth to it, and it was fascinating, and I thought it was an important movie to make.
What were the factors in aiding your decision to integrate yourself within the film?
It took me 10 years to do the movie. So at some point, the movie becomes you. You cannot, you put so much in it. At some point you go home, you're like, why am I putting all, movies should be simple to make. This one is so complicated. So I had to be, to take all responsibilities for it and to make all the decisions. So I needed to be at the center of it. And actually, because I was making a movie about a tribe, and I was not talking about them, but I was talking about the guy who was the traitor and was their enemy. They wanted me to be that guy so that they could, point the finger at one person and not, a couple of it. Just that guy, the lines that I said, everything, I take all responsibilities for it.
How long did it take to formulate the script?
Took a long time because we started to work on the script in 2003 and we finished in 2010. So, we did a really thoughtful journalistic, investigation. We tried to get as deep and cover every angle of it to try to understand really how balanced it was and get as close to the truth as we could. So it took us a long time, and it's difficult to put all these informations in a 2-hour format, So it took us 10 years. Yeah, it took us 6-7 years.
Is there anything particular about the event that moved you or touched you in any way?
Yeah, everything from what touched me really was that not only it's it's the story of David and Goliath. It's the story of the 99% and the 1%. It's the story of how big systems get rid of annoying different ways of life and different ways of different civilizations. So it's very universal, and it's and not only that they went and they killed these people, but these people have a different way of looking at life and different way of interacting with life. So it's also an optional way of looking at your life and how you want to be with others. So it's important that they stay alive and that their culture stays alive so that we can learn from it.
Okay. How did you, there are people in the film whose fathers had a part of the event, and people themselves who were part of the event. How hard was it to get into contact with those people?
It was very easy to get in touch with the family members and and people, but then I realized that to make a movie like that you have to make it with them, and not only you have to make it with them, but you have to make it with the people who actually are the most legit about this story, which is family members of people who died there, their sons, their mothers, their brothers, cousins. And the way the clan works and the tribe works, you need to get everybody to agree on it. So it was, complicated, but it was very interesting because I didn't want the movie just to be another movie. I wanted the movie to also to help them to have closure and to understand what happened. So they were eager to do it. They were really pushing forward, but they were also reluctant because they didn't want to be, betrayed again. So that's where that's what took 10 years.
Okay. Were there any difficulties that you faced during the research? Was there a certain point of view you wanted to get across more than any other, or was it difficult to try and find that balance between the two?
Actually the first time I heard the true story, I was like, it makes so much sense from what I understand of the world. yeah, it makes sense. So it's not. It was really trying to get, you know, cross information so that you know that you're telling the truth and you're not just telling one side, and just tell the truth, because the truth is so amazing. You don't want to modify it. You don't want to enhance it or anything. You just want to try to tell it. So it was not complicated. It was there. You know, when you read the investigation that were made by some journalists, you were, this is amazing. It's an amazing story. You know, it's almost a script. So it fell on my lap. I just needed to make my work and not just work on somebody else's work. But so we did it, and we met all these people, all these different sides. We met the militaries, we met the Kanak, and we tried to get all the informations together in 2 hours. Complicated, but very interesting.
How do you feel that this is? It's different to a lot of the other films you've done before. How do you feel about it reaching out to the audience, this particular story? Do you feel as if it's something that they need to know, because it's not really something that's been covered perhaps as much as it should have been?
Yeah, you know, stories like that are, you know, you have them all the time. It's not about that people should know about it, it's about not forgetting about them. So when you make a movie, you're actually setting up in stones and saying, you know, the movie is going to stay there. It's going to be there forever. So it's not about people seeing them. It's about that there is a memory now, and that's why it's very important to make it to make it as realistic and as truthful as possible, because it's going to stay there now. It's going to be the you know, that first stone where people are going to use to have discussion about that subject, and about, you know, everything that it represents also. So yeah, it's you know, movies can be very powerful, and if you find the right story to tell, it will stay. It will become the truth almost. So yeah, it's, you know, it's not about, I don't know how people will react to it, but I know it's there, and that's what movies are for. It's a memory, and that's what this movie is about, I think.
Okay.